Hey everyone, it's Jeannie, and today I am back to share this card that I actually posted a couple months ago, I think. When I had posted it, I got a bunch of questions about how I created it, and it kind of was amusing because it's one of those cards that is so simple. There's no real trick behind it. It's just literally Copic coloring, but because I got so many questions, I really wanted to share it, and it was really fun to make, so I had no problem redoing it so I could film it. I usually just sit down and film. I never pre-plan or pre-create a card and then recreate it. So this was a little different for me, but I thought it was really fun to do. I am using the Trinity Stamps Fa-Brew-lous stamp set, which is a slimline stamp set that contains a bunch of coffee images and coffee beans. It's super cute. I love coffee. I'm a coffee addict, and so this was a set that I definitely wanted to use. I went into this card wanting to color it in kind of a rainbow colors, and I used a ruler just to mark off 7 parts, and I did 7 because I was going to use 7 different colors to color it up. The first thing I did was I went in and colored all those coffee beans. They're super small. There's no need to use 3 colors. I used 3 colors, and that's just me. I first went in with my darkest color in between the little coffee beans. Then I went in with my mid-tone and kind of like just had a little circle. And then I went in with my lightest color and colored up the whole coffee bean. You definitely don't need to do that. You could just use 1 color, but I've mentioned before, I just can't help myself. I just have to use 3, and that's what I did. So the coffee beans, self-explanatory. Then it comes to the rainbow coloring, which I think most people had questions about, maybe. I think that it kind of tricked people because this card ends up being on black or on a black background. And honestly, all I did was colored it using my black Copic marker. There's nothing super special about it. This is a fully Copic colored card panel. The only question that I can see is how I made it black, Copic marker. And then the second question is just how I did the rainbow colors. So I'll have a list of all the Copic colors that I use specifically for this card panel down below. But I picked colors that were really close to each other. For my lightest red, I used an R24, which is kind of a corally, orangey red color. And then I used like my next darkest orange that kind of looks red, so it would blend really well. So I don't have a huge Copic collection. I have colors that really work together well, and that's what I did. I basically picked colors that like just worked really well together and could blend together and created this ombre. So I kept it in mind. So when I used the orange colors, I also decided to use Y17 because it kind of has that golden yellow that would mix really well with that orange. I had pulled out all these colors prior to coloring it up. So I just followed the little sections that I was in, and if I was close to the edge of a section, I would stop with that particular color and then move into the next color family. And that's basically all I did. Nothing super special. I really love doing rainbow coloring. I just don't do it enough. And I think that this one just caught people's attention because it has coffee cups in it. And coffee is such like a big draw for most people, and it's perfect for like a gift card to accompany the card. So this is basically a color with me, and I'm doing a voiceover right now, and there is a crazy storm happening in San Francisco, so you might be hearing the wind in the background. I just was not able to sleep last night because the wind was so crazy. It just kept hitting my window. The rain was really loud. I have skylights in my house, and so that was really loud too. It's been a long time since I've kind of had a cozy Sunday afternoon, which is when I'm doing this voiceover. I'm not really even sure when I'm going to post this, but I wanted to get it up as soon as possible because I know I've been delayed. But I've been delayed because I've had so many other things happening and all the other projects and stuff. But this is my first weekend where I haven't had any plans or anything to do. The only thing I actually wanted to do was actually stop by a coffee shop near my house, and it's only 2 blocks away, but because it's raining and it's so windy, I don't even want to walk those 2 blocks. So I am stuck inside. I love the cozy rainy days, and I actually usually love sleeping with it raining outside, but last night was just insane. The wind was just too crazy and it was too loud. So it was not calming. It was more like it just kept waking me up. So yeah, like if you guys have any further questions about this card, feel free to ask and I can explain it in detail. But I think that it was pretty self-explanatory, and I think that once you have the Copic colors to be able to blend, then that might be more helpful. But usually I just pick good colors that will mix into each other. And I find the trick of moving to different families is the lighter the color is, the easier it is to blend. But that just might be in my head. I'm not a Copic pro or expert. Like, I don't really understand the Copic coding system or anything like that, but this is what has worked for me, and it made for a really cool card. So hopefully you can see all the coloring and kind of get it. I think the most difficult part of this card itself is the black, because you have to go in to all the nooks and crannies and color up the entire background. And when I originally made this card, I really hesitated whether I wanted to do it or not, but I thought that the black background would give the most pop to the card, which it did, because I think that's what caught everyone's attention. I think people thought that I did ink blending for the cups, and that's how I got that blend, but that would have been insane. There are way too many objects for this particular card panel that I could not do ink blending and masking. That would be crazy, especially with those small coffee beans, which, I mean, thinking about it, you probably could use masking fluid to do it too, but I just didn't think it was worth it at all. I just sat down and colored this, and I kind of just zoned out, and it was like the perfect way to spend a lazy day. And just when you want to color and you don't want to do anything super special for a card, this is the perfect thing to do. It does take a lot of time, because coloring the black background was a pain in the butt, mainly because of all the little pieces. But you can see that I'm like taking it section by section, and then I will actually start moving to tracing everything in black first and then coloring it in. And I find that way just to be a lot easier. If this is something you want to do and you want to recreate, I think that I would just suggest going in, tracing everything in black, and then coloring it in. It makes it so much faster because you're not too worried about getting into the coffee cups or the images or anything like that. So once you have everything traced out, you can just easily go in and color it. After I did that, it made it a lot easier, and it was just, yeah, it's just one of those mindless coloring things. I'm sorry that it's not super like impressive or anything. It's just Copic coloring, and I think that that black background is just what got people's attention, because they thought I did some ink blending. But there's no easy technique of doing this. It's just straight up coloring. That would be really cool though, if there was a way to be able to stamp that background. I mean, that'd be cool. Doing like a reverse stamp set, so you could just easily stamp up your background instead of having to color it. There's so many ideas in the crafty world. Maybe that will become one of it. To finish off this card, I actually trimmed it down because it just isn't perfect for a slimline size. I do a 3.5 by 8.5, and so I trimmed it down and matted on holographic cardstock, which is really cool because it picks up the colors on the card panel. And then I stamped out a sentiment, thanks a latte, from the stamp set, and just put it on. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time with another one. Bye!